when the night opens its eyes. Have you ever noticed how the world feels different at 2 a.m.? Not just quieter, but almost as if it's holding its breath. The streets are still. The clocks tick a little louder, and in that pause between dreams and daylight, something stirs inside you. Perhaps you've experienced it. You wake up suddenly, not startled, not afraid, just awake. The house is asleep. The world is asleep, but you are not. You lie there, staring at the soft outline of the ceiling. Your mind begins to wander. Should you check the time? Should you get up? A whisper of worry floats in. Why does this keep happening? Some say this kind of waking is a problem, a symptom of age or stress, or something broken in our sleep cycle. But what if that's not the full story? Let's pause here for a moment. What if waking in the night isn't a failure, but an invitation? You see, in Buddhist thought, not everything that appears to disturb us is meant to be avoided. Sometimes what interrupts our comfort does so for a reason. Sometimes the night opens its eyes because there is something within us that longs to be heard. There's a quiet kind of wisdom that only reveals itself in the hours when the world is asleep. A space where the noise of the day has faded, and all that's left is your breath, your body, and the silence. And within that silence, something sacred waits. Tonight we'll walk gently into that space together. We'll explore not just how to return to sleep, but how to return to ourselves. Because maybe the real rest we need isn't just physical. Maybe it's spiritual, emotional, a soft surrender, not just to sleep, but to peace. So if you've ever found yourself wide awake at 2 a.m. wondering what's wrong with you, stay with me. Maybe nothing is wrong at all. Maybe, just maybe. The night is trying to show you something. Part 1. Waking in the middle of the night is not a problem. There's a common belief, quiet but persistent, that waking in the middle of the night means something has gone wrong. Maybe it's your age. Maybe it's your stress. Maybe it's your body betraying you. And so, when your eyes blink open at 2 a.m. and you find yourself staring into the hush of the dark, the first thing that arises is worry. But let's stop right there. What if this nighttime awakening isn't a malfunction, but a message? In Buddhist thought, the moments that we instinctively resist often hold the richest teachings. A distraction, a delay, a disturbance. All can become doorways to greater awareness if we stop fighting and start listening. So when you wake in the night, instead of labeling it as a problem to solve, try thinking of it as a visitor. A gentle knock at the door of your consciousness, inviting you to notice something, perhaps not out there, but in here. I once knew an elderly man, let's call him Mr. Harold, who had trouble staying asleep. Every night, like clockwork, he would rise from his slumber around 2:30. At first he cursed it. He thought something was wrong with his health, his medications, or his mattress. But after months of frustration, he stopped resisting. He stopped turning on the lights. He stopped checking the time. Instead, he began simply lying there, listening. He listened to the rhythm of his breath, to the occasional creak of his old wooden house, to the distant hoot of an owl in the trees behind his window. And over time, he noticed that those middle-of-the-night hours, once filled with anxiety, had become sacred. He began to think of them as his hour of remembering, a time when he would recall old memories, silently pray for those he loved, or just be still with himself, in a way the busy daytime never allowed. You see, as we grow older, our bodies changes. This is the law of impermanence, anicca, that the Buddha so often spoke of. Our sleep becomes lighter, more fragmented. But that doesn't mean it's broken. It means it's transforming. And perhaps, so must we. Science, too, offers us a soft reassurance. It's perfectly natural for older adults to wake once, or even several times throughout the night. The drop and rise in core body temperature, the change in melatonin, the shorter periods of deep sleep. These are all part of a rhythm, not a rupture. The problem isn't the waking. The problem is the story we tell ourselves about it. So the next time you find yourself stirring at 2 a.m., consider this. Maybe your body isn't failing you. Maybe it's offering you a pause, a breath, a space to return, not to panic, but to presence. Because in the stillness of the night, when the world has turned its face away, what remains is you, just you, and the breath, and the beating heart that still keeps time. And maybe, just maybe, that's not a problem at all. Part 2. Don't resist the night. Breathe with it. There's a quiet suffering that comes, not from what happens, but from how we respond to it. In the stillness of night, it's not the waking that disturbs our peace, it's the resistance, the tight grip we form around the thought, this shouldn't be happening, the subtle war we declare against the dark, and yet night has no quarrel with us. It simply is. So often, when we find ourselves awake at 3 a.m., our first instinct is to react, to reach for the phone, to glance at the glowing numbers on the clock, to turn on the light, to stir the stillness. But with each action, we move further away from rest, not because of the light itself or the phone itself, but because of what those things symbolize, a rejection of the moment, a refusal to be with what is. In Buddhist practice, there's a beautiful teaching known as being with what is, not fixing, not fleeing, just being, accepting that, right now, this is where we are. And in that acceptance, a surprising thing often happens. Our suffering softens. Our breath returns. The moment loses its edges. Let me tell you a small story. An elderly woman I once met, I'll call her Clara, shared something that stayed with me. She told me about the night she stopped fighting her insomnia. One evening, she found herself staring at the clock, frustrated, restless, blaming her age, her arthritis, the noise outside. And then she remembered something her grandmother used to say, "If you can't sleep, let the night hold you anyway." So that night, instead of getting up, Clara pulled the covers up to her chin and whispered to herself, "I'm not sleeping, but I'm still resting. I'm still safe." She closed her eyes and simply listened to her breath, to the hush of the air around her, to the quiet murmur of her own heart. She said it was the first time in years she felt peaceful at 3 a.m. From that night on, she kept a small phrase beside her bed. Don't resist the night. Breathe with it. And that is the lesson here. When we resist the night, we harden. But when we breathe with it, we soften. We come back to our natural rhythm. We return to presence. The breath becomes not just a biological act, but a spiritual anchor. In Buddhist meditation, the breath is often called the bridge between the body and the mind, the raft that carries us across the river of restlessness. So if you find yourself awake in the night, before you reach for anything, reach for your breath. Inhale softly, exhale slowly. No force, no control, just presence. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. Just be here. Awake, yes, but not anxious. Alert, but not alarmed. Held by the darkness, not haunted by it. And in that sacred stillness, you may find your peace. But here's the thing. The mind isn't trying to harm us. It's simply doing what it was designed to do. Think, solve, remember, protect. But when left without direction, it loops endlessly, creating noise in the silence, shadows in the dark. So what can we do? Give the mind a gentle path. Instead of resisting its wandering, guide it with compassion. In Buddhist mindfulness, this is called right attention, not shutting the mind down, but leading it softly back to something that nourishes rather than drains. Try this. When your thoughts begin to stir at 3 a.m., instead of pushing them away, invite a gentle practice. Silently repeat a calming phrase, like, "I am safe, this too shall pass," or just this breath. Let the words be like stepping stones across a stream, giving the mind something to walk on so it doesn't sink into the depths of worry, or use visualization. Picture a peaceful place, a quiet forest, a candle flame, the face of someone you love. Let your mind settle there, not to escape, but to rest in something kind. Another way is to count your breaths. Inhale, 1. Exhale, 2. All the way to 10. Then gently start again. If you lose count, it's not a failure. It's simply the mind reminding you to return. And here lies a gentle truth the Buddha might whisper. Whatever you water, grows. Water peace with your attention, water presence with your breath, water kindness with your thoughts. And soon even the most restless night can bloom into a quiet dawn within. Part 5. The night as a sacred teacher. The night, in all its quiet mystery, is not our enemy. It is our teacher. It strips away distractions, takes the world's volume down to a hush, and in that silence, it shows us what we've been avoiding. It teaches impermanence, how nothing, not even rest, is guaranteed. It teaches presence, how to be with what is, not what should be. It teaches surrender, how to soften our grip and listen more deeply. So the next time you wake, not with dread, but with awareness, greet the night like an old friend. Breathe. Rest even if you do not sleep. Feel your heart continue its quiet rhythm. Feel your breath rise and fall like ocean waves. And in that sacred darkness, know this: you are not broken. You are not failing. You are simply alive, fully, tenderly, beautifully awake. I didn't realize, he said, how much my body was trying to protect me. Thomas had spent decades carrying stress like armor, tension in his shoulders from years of responsibility, tightness in his jaw from unspoken worries, stiffness in his hands from holding on too tightly to people, to expectations, to pain. But the night he discovered progressive muscle relaxation, he didn't just relax his body, he forgave it. He thanked it. He allowed it to rest. This practice, simple as it may seem, is not just a technique. It is a form of reverence, a slow, intentional return to your physical self, a body that has carried you through every storm, and now, finally, is being invited to soften. In Buddhism, the body is a temple, not in the sense of perfection, but in the sense of sacred presence. To relax, it is not laziness. It is wisdom. It is kindness in motion. So tonight, as you lie in the dark, ask your body, where are you holding on? And then, gently, offer it. Release. One area at a time. No rush, no judgment, only patience. As if you were comforting a dear friend who has stood too long in the cold. With each exhale, feel the surrender. With each softening muscle, feel the peace returning. The body, once alert and bracing, now learning the art of trust. And in this state, neither fully awake nor fully asleep, you may find something deeper than rest. You may discover a silence that blooms like night jasmine, a stillness that feels like being held, not by another, but by the gentle awareness that you are enough, right here, right now. Part 6. Rest without sleep. The gift of deep stillness. Even in his sleep, he had lived through decades of worry, of caregiving, of always being strong for others. Even at night, his shoulders curled forward, his jaw tightened, his hands clenched into fists. He didn't mean to. His body just didn't know it was safe to rest. But when he began practicing progressive muscle relaxation, slowly, quietly, without expectation, something changed. It was like I finally gave my body permission to exhale, he said, like it had been waiting all these years for me to say, you can let go now. And truly, isn't that what many of us need? Not a miracle cure, not perfect sleep, but simply this, the feeling that our body no longer needs to brace itself against life, that in this hour, in this breath, we are allowed to soften. So the next time you lie awake before you curse your restlessness, place your hand gently over your chest. Feel your heartbeat. Whisper to your own limbs as a mother would to a child. It's okay now. You can rest. Then begin, one muscle at a time, to open the gates of surrender. And as your body begins to unfurl like petals in moonlight, you may find, without forcing, without reaching, that rest comes to you, not as an escape, but as a return. There's a quiet truth we rarely hear in a world obsessed with doing. You don't have to be asleep to be resting. And for those of us in later years, when sleep becomes more elusive, more fragile, sometimes broken into fragments, this truth can be nothing short of liberating. You see, we've been conditioned to believe, unless we're asleep, we're failing at rest. That the moment our eyes open at 3 a.m., our night is ruined. But this belief, so common, so deeply ingrained, adds suffering to what might otherwise be just a gentle pause in the night. Buddhist wisdom invites us to look again. In the teachings of mindfulness, there is a space beyond sleep, a space of still awareness, a place where the body may not be unconscious, but it is at ease, where the mind may still be present, but not troubled. This state is known in modern terms as non-sleep deep rest, but in the language of the heart, it is simply being. I once met a woman named Marianne, a retired teacher in her late 70s, who described these nighttime hours as her midnight meditation. She had long ago stopped worrying about how many hours of sleep she'd get. Instead, she would lie in bed, not restless, not reaching, just present, breathing gently, eyes closed, body still. I used to panic when I couldn't sleep, she told me, but now I just think, this is my sacred hour. I'm resting, even if I'm awake. And the science agrees. When your body lies still, when your breath is slow, when your mind is not caught in the storm of thought, your nervous system shifts, your heart rate drops, your brain waves begin to resemble those of light sleep. Healing still happens, hormones still balance, energy still returns. You don't need to fall asleep to be nourished by the night. Sometimes it's enough just to be still and allow the silence to hold you. In Buddhist tradition, stillness is not the absence of movement. It is the fullness of presence, the moment when we stop grasping for something else and simply allow what is to be enough. So if you find yourself lying awake, don't rush to fix it. Don't label it as wrong. Instead, close your eyes. Feel the softness of the blanket. Listen to the quiet hum of the night. Breathe slowly. Not to change anything, but just to be with it. You are resting. You are healing. Even now. Even here. And sometimes, in these moments of non-sleep, deep rest, a different kind of peace arrives, one that doesn't depend on dreams, but grows quietly, like a lotus rising from the mud, untouched by noise, undisturbed by time. This is your invitation to stop measuring your night in hours slept and start honoring it by presence kept. Conclusion: a gentle rest, even in wakefulness, and begin feeling it. In heartbeats softened, in breaths deepened, in presence reclaimed. Because the truth is, peace doesn't only live in sleep. It lives wherever you stop resisting the now. So here we are. At the end of our quiet walk through the night, together we've uncovered a simple but powerful truth: that waking up in the middle of the night is not a failure. It is not a flaw in your aging body, nor a sign that something is broken. It is, perhaps, a whisper, an invitation, a sacred pause that asks you to come home, not just to sleep, but to yourself. We've learned that resisting the night, reaching for phones, clocks, lights, only stirs the waters more. But when we breathe with it, when we soften into it, we discover that peace was never far away, that even in restlessness, there can be stillness, that even without sleep, we can heal. We explored the breath as a doorway to calm, a companion more faithful than any pill or promise. We gave the mind a gentle path to walk, counting backward like a stream flowing back to its source. We honored the body as a temple, one muscle at a time, unfolding into surrender. And finally, we embraced the beauty of resting without sleep, a soft awareness, a deep letting go, a reminder that even in darkness we are not lost. We are simply being invited to rest in a different way. And now, dear friend, I offer you this. The next time you find yourself awake, in the quiet hours, ask not, "How do I fall asleep?" but rather, "How can I be fully here, in this moment, as it is?" Ask not, "What is wrong with me?" but "What is the night trying to show me?" Let your breath answer. Let your body listen. Let the silence speak. Because sometimes the most healing thing you can do is nothing at all. Just lie there. Breathe. Let the moonlight kiss your skin. Let your heart be heard. Let yourself be enough. And if sleep comes, welcome it like an old friend. If it doesn't, rest anyway. Knowing that peace is not something you fall into, but something you can return to at any time. If this reflection brought a little light to your night, I invite you to join us here again. Subscribe to this channel, Buddhist teachings, and for more gentle reminders, quiet stories, and Buddhist-inspired wisdom for the soul, especially in the later seasons of life. And until we meet again, may you walk gently through your sleepless hours, and may the silence always. Be kind to yourself, my dears. Thank you.